Okay, so it's about that time of year to start thinking about Christmas. And I just want to talk with you about the Christmas tree and whether it is a pagan tradition or not, and whether you should be celebrating Christmas at all. Okay? So let's go ahead and dig into a comment that I responded to on the channel. Deborah asked me, she says, do you have anything on whether we should or should not participate in Christmas? I trust your knowledge. So thank you, Deborah. I appreciate that. And I said, as for Christmas, nothing focusing on it, but it is the right time of the year. She then says, so is it okay to put up a tree? This is an iffy area for me. In my thinking, it is Santa-ish. So, and in fact, in America, it tends to be that. I don't know where Deborah is, but Deborah, she might be down under, I'm not sure. So in Australia, but over here in Poland and in Ukraine, the tree is definitely not anything to do with Santa. They actually celebrate St. Nicholas Day on like the 10th of December, where they give a gift to each other. But the tree is something different. It doesn't have to do with Santa Claus. There's no Santa tradition around the tree over here. And so that was the first thing I found peculiar when I came over here, was that Christmas was considered sacred and holy, and Christmas Eve. In fact, Christmas Eve, there was a special kind of fast. I think they eat fish soup. I'm thinking of Poland in particular. And then on Christmas Day, they can eat meats, but they still have to limit how much they eat. And there's no alcohol on Christmas Eve. There's certain things that they observe, and it's very, very holy. I mean, you can sense it, and people are behaving this way. There's this calm, there's this kind of peace. It just is descended on the households and on the land. It's amazing. In America, it's the opposite. It's like everyone's going crazy, oh, I didn't buy a gift, It's not like that over here. Not like that, at least in Poland. So I'm going to read this to you about the Christmas tree. I say, I do not do that since I don't have children in the home. I put up swags and hang neutral ornaments from it. I know there are many who are opposed to the tree because they suppose it is of pagan origin. But then there are many things we did as pagans we would have to stop now. So you know that when I like to corner people and show them if they're right or wrong about something, right? And so this is going to show that if we are going to stop Christmas trees because we think it's from pagan origin, we have a lot of other things we have to stop first. So let's go ahead and go through a small list of these, a very small list. This list could be 1,000 times bigger. So let's go ahead. Get rid of your cats. Yep, cats are number one. Cats originate from ancient Egypt, and they were considered good luck. So you kept a cat in the house. That's where taming cats and keeping them as pets started. They were associated with good luck from the gods. Get rid of your cats. If you're going to get rid of your Christmas tree, get rid of your cats. And anytime anyone brings a cat around, shun it. It's pagan. It's a pagan thing. Pagan practice. Get rid of it. You say, but Ron, it's not a pagan practice nowadays. No one thinks it's good luck from the gods. Well, all right, but keep that in mind because you have to apply that to everything, which means Christmas, Christmas trees, Easter, and everything else you want to get rid of. Because there are these Christians who want to just get rid of everything, saying it's from pagan origin. Well, if you're not going to get rid of your cats, then just be quiet. Okay? Stop trying to harass people about these issues. Here we go. Change the name of the days of the week in English. Saturday, Saturn, the god Saturn. That's what it's named after. That's what it's named after. You have to get rid of that. In Slavic cultures, it's Sabota, which it comes from Sabbath. That's a word for Saturday. It comes from Sabbath. It's Christian. Why is it Christian in the Slavic languages? All the Slavic languages. But in English, we use pagan names for it. Shame on us. Change the names of the months. I don't have to mention July and August are named for Roman emperors. But Juno, Roman queen of the gods and wife to Jupiter, Juno. Some say January is named after her. Maybe, I don't know. Stop covering your mouth when you yawn. Yep, no kidding. So in pagan Rome, doctors had a clever but completely wrong theory about yawning and infant mortality. They noticed that lots of children died young, and they also noticed that babies were unable to cover their mouth when they yawned. They thought yawning allowed a person's vital life essence to escape their body. So every time you yawn, if you don't cover your mouth, you're in danger of your soul escaping. That's also why in English we say bless you when you sneeze, because we think that you might die because your soul might escape. These are pagan traditions. So you have to stop those. It gets worse. Stop wearing wedding rings. Yep. Stop wearing wedding rings. As from traditional Greek and Roman beliefs, your fourth or ring finger was thought to have a vein that ran directly to your heart. By placing your wedding ring there, you were making a strong and eternal commitment to love. And love was a god in their culture. Love wasn't an abstract idea as much as a god. Stop crossing fingers. In ancient times, it wasn't one person who would cross their fingers. Rather, two people would use their index fingers and make a cross. This was done as an attempt to harness the power of any good spirits that might be hiding nearby. Don't cross your fingers. Don't do this with someone like little kids do, swear, or pinky swear, right? We don't really do it for that reason. There's some good spirits hiding. Let's get them to come out, right? No, we don't do that. That's not why we do it. All right, here we go. Stop wearing flower crowns. In ancient Greece, they helped bring worshipers closer to specific deities. There you go. That one has very strong pagan origins. So those crowns of flowers that girls wear, if your little daughter is starting to wear them, tell her no. Say, no, we don't do that. That's for people who don't believe in Jesus. I mean, if you're going to do that with Christmas trees and Easter and Christmas and everything else that you can imagine, you're going to have to do it with these things too. No bridesmaids. This is the weirdest one. Okay, this is the weirdest one. They used to wear identical dress to the bride to trick evil spirits to attack the bridesmaid instead. Oh my. Oh, she's a decoy. It's like you'd have to pay her to be your bridesmaid because you're asking her to be a decoy for the evil spirits. Dress just like you, and then, let's hope the evil spirits attack you instead of me. Oh, man. So remember that. If you're going to stop all these other things, especially Christmas, Easter, Christmas trees, you've got to stop having bridesmaids. And you have to tell your Christian friends too. You can't do that. That's a pagan custom. Yeah, go ahead. Tell them. Okay? Next one. Stop wearing Nike brand. No joke here. The goddess Nike was worshipped in ancient Greece as the goddess of victory. She would often be worshipped after a successful military win. So it makes sense why the company would use her name to promote their brand. Nike. Nike was the goddess of victory. And the company, very consciously, they didn't just invent it out of thin air. They took that knowingly from Greek mythology. Stop the statues of Lady Justice. Whether we realize it or not, these are actually depictions of the ancient Roman goddess of justice, Justitia. Although the name may have changed over the years, her personification and meaning these days is nearly identical to those in Roman times. So you have to go tear down those statues at our courthouses. And if you do that, you're probably going to be put in jail. But if you're going to get rid of everything pagan, then you have an obligation to go tear those down. Everything of pagan origin. Now that one we use in the same way, but we don't think of Justitia, although we have still personified it into kind of a goddess. So that one I could see getting rid of. That one I could see getting rid of. Nike for sure. No medals of honor. In the United States military, the Medal of Honor is the highest honor a soldier can achieve. They can be given for various acts of valor, and if you look closely, you might just notice something a little pagan about them. While the design varies depending on the military branch, the Roman goddess Minerva almost always makes an appearance. Considering that she is the goddess of war, this connection makes sense. So if you're being offered the Medal of Honor, have a close look at it first. If Minerva's on it and you are a Christian, you've got to reject it. Or ask them to give you one without Minerva on it. Say, can you give me a Christian Medal of Honor? Because there's a pagan goddess here. What I thought there was a separation between religion and state and religion. So why are you having a Roman goddess on the Medal of Honor for the U.S. military? All right, so now we get to Christmas trees. What I'm saying is that if you are going to say, well, Christmas trees have a pagan origin, so we have to get rid of them, you have to get rid of all these other things because they have pagan origins. Now, I'm going to argue that it depends on the meaning of it today. So listen, Christmas tree. So the boughs of evergreen, that's the swags. The boughs of evergreen were definitely a pagan tradition to celebrate the coming of the sun god back from an illness, as in Egypt, or the Druids believed they symbolized everlasting life. We do not do it for that reason, though, today. It is just a piece of natural beauty in the home, and the smell is amazing. That's it. It's inert. It's neutral. There's no pagan meaning in it. If you know someone who has pagan meaning in it, and they call themselves a Christian, well, of course you have to talk with them, but I don't know anyone who does. The tree, however, in the home is thought to actually be a Christian origin. Here's an excerpt from thehistory.com. Whether it's true or not, well, I doubt this myth is true, but it's quite possible that the tree came from Christian origins, but they tie something about the tree to Martin Luther, and it sounds totally like a myth. All right, so Germany is this is from history.com. Germany is credited with starting the Christmas tree tradition as we now know it in the 16th century, when devout Christians brought decorated trees into their homes. Some built Christmas pyramids of wood and decorated them with evergreens and candles if wood was scarce. Evergreens and candles if wood was scarce. It is a widely held belief that Martin Luther first added lighted candles to a tree. Walking toward his home one winter evening, composing a sermon. This sounds like a myth. Oh, Martin Luther was so industrious. Everywhere he walked, he was composing a sermon. Every single time he was composing a sermon. And he was walking home one day composing a sermon when he saw this and and this sounds exactly like some sort of fable, all right? So, all right, let's keep going. They like to attribute everything to Martin Luther that happened in Germany, except for the atrocities, of course, which were Hitler. But you had atrocities that were as bad as Hitler that came from Martin Luther. 150 years of war. Hitler's war only lasted like about 7 years. That's bad enough. But Luther's lasted for 150 years. 150 years of bloody war, and it killed half of Europe. He could have stopped. He's the one who started it. You say, Ron, the Catholics started it. No, they didn't. Luther was a Catholic. It wouldn't have started if he wouldn't have tried to separate a church out from the Catholic Church. Hey, it's okay that he protested. It's fine. He protested. No big deal. Right? But when he disobeyed the spiritual authorities over him, he entered into Korah's rebellion, which Jude says is a mark of a false teacher. So you know what's coming next is Cain, where you murder your brother, either physically or in your heart. Well, with him, it came out physically in the movement. So he had the princes behind him, and he didn't back down because he had military might behind him. So, okay, let's go at it. You say the Catholic Church could have backed down, but they weren't the aggressors. They weren't. Luther was the aggressor. Catholic Church was defending. And yes, they do share part of the blame. But Luther shares the main blame for all those deaths over those 150 years. I would say that Luther was worse than Hitler. Far worse than Hitler. Hitler may have killed more people and been more directly responsible for it. But Luther was responsible for those 150 years of war and half of Europe being killed. And percentage-wise, in terms of population, Luther may have been the more evil person. If any Germans are watching this, they're probably going to really hate me. But it's just the truth. That's just the truth. So it says, let's go back to our myth here. Walking toward his home, one winter evening, composing a sermon, he was awed by the brilliance of stars twinkling amidst evergreens. To recapture the scene for his family, he erected a tree in the main room and wired its branches with lighted candles. Well, we have a huge problem there is that he had a family. He took vows to God that he would remain celibate the rest of his life. That wasn't just to his superiors in the church. He voluntarily vowed that to God. He didn't care about what he swore to God he would do the rest of his life. And he went off and had a family. This is another reason why I completely reject his doctrines. He's false. He despises God. He despises his own vows to God. Some of our pagan traditions, this is what I wrote. Some of our pagan traditions, we still have paganism infused in them. The days and months names do not. The wedding rings definitely do. So at my church here in Ukraine, married couples do not wear wedding rings. Serious, they don't. Yawning, it is just polite to cover your mouth. Medal of honor, well, if Minerva is there, it must be rejected. So we have to use our minds to evaluate whether it is still pagan in practice or not. May the Lord bless you as you seek him with all your heart. And her response is this. Thank you. This is the most detailed explanation I have read or seen. I have watched a lot of videos on this matter several years ago. Either they are totally against it or have no valid points for it. This has weighed on my mind, and it is a relief. I haven't put one up or participated in divorce since I've come to know Jesus the Christ. But for the unsaved world, I feel like not participating in some way is not showing appreciation for the birth of our Messiah. I have family members, the married people, that have always done it, and I felt awkward about it. Thank you again. It has put my mind at ease. Shalom. And I wrote back, be at peace, sister. And I want you to be at peace too about it. I want you to exercise your conscience. If you feel like it is something that you need to abstain from it. If you feel like it's something that you don't need to abstain from, and that you recognize there aren't pagan meanings to it now for you and for the people around you, then by all means participate in putting the Christmas tree up and celebrating Christmas. Keeping Santa Claus out of it, it's good to separate that out. Over here, Christmas is celebrated on January 7th, not December 25th, because that's the Orthodox date, the Eastern Church date of Christmas. And they celebrate St. Nicholas Day, I think on the 10th of December, and that's when they give each other a gift, a small gift. And so that's the gift giving, and it's separated from Christmas. So like when I was in Poland, they celebrated on December 25th like us because they're Western, they're Catholic. And so on New Year's Eve, on Christmas Eve, that is the most sacred day, sacred evening of the year. Christmas Eve, there's this calm that descends across the entire country of Poland. It's peace. It's still in every household, the land, everywhere. It's just peace. They also do a kind of fast. I think it's like fish soup and something like that. No alcohol on Vigilia. That's Christmas Eve. And then on Christmas Day, they're allowed to eat some sausages and things like that, but they still have to like not gorge themselves. They have to like, eat just very little. And they go to the church in the morning, I think, and maybe in the evening as well. So anyway, it's a very holy time in Poland. And you feel it, you sense it. It's definitely holy, it's definitely dedicated to Jesus Christ. Absolutely. And of course, as you would expect, Mary does play a role in it, but very much like she does for us in Christmas. Not like what you imagine that she's equal with Jesus and God and all this. No. It's not like that at Christmas. At Christmas, they've got the manger setting in the church. It's that kind of scenario. So over here, I don't know that much. The Protestant churches here in Ukraine are pushing for December 25th to be recognized as Christmas, but the other churches all have a strong tradition of January 7th. And so they celebrate, the Protestants are trying to celebrate both of them, but when you go out in public, it's January 7th over here for Christmas, and that's the official public holiday. December 25th is nothing officially. So, but anyway, I hope that helps you out. May the Lord bless you as you seek Him with all your heart.